You know, regular viewers to my channel will know that I've been watching this Labour government for quite some time now, waiting for the mask to slip, and slip it has, spectacularly. Both Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves have been caught red-handed, lying through their expensively maintained teeth again and again and again, and those teeth are probably paid for by Lord Ali, by the way, like he did everything else. So let's start with the big one, shall we? Rachel Reeves, the woman who wrote a book about the women history forgot, apparently including the ones who can read a balance sheet. Well, she stood up in Parliament and swore blind there was it 22 billion black hole? Or 21, who cares? In the public finances. They made a big massive hoo-ha about it, didn't they? They say they had to slash winter fuel payments for pensioners, hammer farmers with inheritance tax, and freeze tax thresholds so the taxman can help himself to more of your pay packets while you weren't looking. Well, as it turns out, it wasn't a black hole at all, was it? It was a rounding error, a forecasting difference, if you will, an accounting choice. In other words, complete and utter bollocks. The Office for Budget Responsibility looked at it, scratched its head, and basically said, "What are you talking about?" Even the BBC, who normally treats Labour ministers like, a fragile Fabergé eggs, had to admit the 22 billion figure was, shall we say, economically creative. But Reeves didn't just make a mistake, did she? She weaponised a lie. She used it as a battering ram to push through policies she wanted anyway, punishing pensioners, screwing over family farms, and pickpocketing working people with fiscal drag. All justified by a fiscal crisis that never existed. That's not incompetence. That's fraud. And then there's Keir Starmer, the human rights lawyer, who apparently believes the right to free speech doesn't apply to you if you're white and working class. The man who promised change and delivered the same old authoritarian Labour playbook, only with better suits and worse hair. He told us he'd renationalise the railways, didn't he? It didn't happen. He told us he'd fix the NHS. Waiting lists are worse than ever. And he told us there'd be no tax rises for working people. And then his Chancellor redefined working people in a way that excludes anyone who's ever saved a penny or owned a share. The man stood in front of the nation, and I use the term man loosely, by the way, and said he'd always been clear about everything. Always clear. The man changes his mind more often than his socks, if you listen to him. He spent years telling anyone who'd listen that Jeremy Corbyn was fit to be Prime Minister. Then he spent the next 4 years pretending he'd been fighting him from the inside like some kind of special political forces operative. These two aren't just incompetent, they're dishonest, pathologically dishonest. They lied to get elected, they lied to justify their budget, and they lied again and again and again, and they'll keep lying until someone drags them out of office. In any sane country, this would be it. Game over. Reeves would have been gone by tea time. Starmer would be packing his bags, muttering about taking full responsibility while blaming everyone but himself. But no, they'll cling on like barnacles surrounded by a civil service that's basically neutered in name only, and a middle class that still thinks criticising Labour is some sort of hate crime. Well, I've got news for them. The British people aren't as stupid as they think we are. We can spot a liar when we see one. And right now, the two biggest liars in the country are sitting in Downing Street at the Treasury, smirking at the cameras, thinking they've got away with it. Well, they haven't. They should resign, the pair of them. They should pack their smug little faces and get out. They lied their way into power, and now they should do the decent thing and piss off out of it. What do you reckon? Let me know in the comments. And there we go. I'm Paz49. Thanks for listening. And until the next time, have a great Monday. And Roger Trout.